Hey, Life Calling Classes, this is Mr. Wagner, and just wanted to come at you guys live and just give you guys some updates for this week for Chapter 8, as well as just kind of let you guys know what all we're doing this week. And so I wanted to let you guys know that hey, we're down to about 4 weeks of me assigning anything, and then we'll have 1 week kind of just to make sure all the grades are in and you guys have turned all your online stuff in. So we're getting pretty close to being here at the end of the school year, and just want to let you guys know I'm praying for you guys, and just wanted to give you an update. So here's what's due this week. A little bit lighter week as far as the participation grades and things, because I want you guys to really focus this week on making sure you guys are ready for your test. I've decided to make the test due next Monday. So next Monday is when you'll need to take your test. You'll have that test and one other test, and then that'll be pretty much it. Also, your project grade that you guys have already done, the project, that'll be your only project. I've decided not to have you guys do an end of the year paper. Hopefully you guys are good with that. And so, again, just trying to make things as simple as possible, but also trying to make sure we get through the material, especially for those of you guys who have dual credit. Want to make sure you guys still get that. And then also want to make sure that all the rest of you guys have a good understanding just to who you are in all the different areas that we've been talking about. Intellectual is what we're going to be covering here for Chapter 8, your intellectual strengths there. So, today, what I want you guys to do, I posted on the bulletin board your review guides for chapters 5 through 7. So there's 20 questions for chapter 5, 6, and 7 combined, just 20 questions. If you'll go to that, you guys can start answering the review guide. It looks very similar to what I would have given you guys in class. It's just a kind of a one-page document. You guys can go on there. You do not have to turn that in, and so up to you if you want to do that or not. It's optional, but it will get you ready for one of the 2 tests that we're taking for this 9 weeks. And so just want to make sure that you guys, that y'all get that in. And then Wednesday, you guys, the only participation grade that you'll have this week is for your PRQs for Chapter 8. I've put all those in an assessment for you guys on DC Connect. And so that's Wednesday. We'll also have a Quizlet ready. I'll have a Quizlet ready for you guys by tomorrow. So if you want to review that way for the test, you can do that as well. And then Thursday, I would just encourage you guys to take time to complete the review guide or the Quizlet. And then Friday, there's not anything due. They've told us not to make anything due Friday. However, I'm going to have just an optional Zoom call with anybody that would like to jump on. If you've got questions about the test, questions about just finding some answers that you haven't been able to find, we're going to do a Zoom call at 2 p.m. on Friday to review for the test. And so 2 p.m. Friday, this Friday, I'm going to jump on with you guys, and you guys can jump on with me if you want to review for the test. Students that are on the call, I'm going to give you guys an extra 10 bonus points for the test on Friday if you guys would like to jump on that call. Again, it's totally optional. You don't have to do it. You don't get a 0 if you're not on there, anything like that. We'll also record it if you guys want to just listen to the answers later. You can do that if you can't jump on at 2 o'clock. And so, and then Monday, just kind of giving you guys a week in advance. Monday, you'll take your test for chapters 5 through 7. And so very quickly today, what I also want to do is just go through Chapter 8. Chapter 8 has a bunch of different lists. And so I want to give you guys the list for Chapter 8, the different list as we talk about our intellectual strengths. And you've got a PowerPoint that's posted also on your bulletin board. So as I go through this, you can also then pull up that PowerPoint. Most of your answers for the tests for chapters 5 through 7 are going to come from that Chapter 5 PowerPoint, Chapter 6 PowerPoint, Chapter 7 PowerPoint. So those PowerPoints are really important. You'll want to go back and look at those to find all your test answers. I literally just tried to pull most of the questions straight from those PowerPoints. There may be some from the book as well. The PowerPoints come from the book, so all of that should be helpful for you. So Proverbs 18:15 says, "The heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, the ears of the wise seek it out." And so it's very important for us to know what our intellectual strengths are, to grow those strengths, because more than just physical strengths or emotional strengths, and intellectual strengths are also very, very important. And this is one sometimes that can kind of get missed, or it's just kind of like you're either smart or you're not, right? And so, but there's actually a lot of different ways that this chapter breaks down what it looks like to be intelligent in a variety of different ways. Again, just as you go through the notes, there's the 5 different strengths domains. We've got emotional, spiritual, psychological, physical, and then this one we're talking about here is intellectual. And so your intellectual strengths are basically strengths in your life that enable you to acquire knowledge and develop an ever-expanding understanding of that knowledge in a manner that produces wisdom. Daniel 1:17 talks about Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and Daniel, and talks about how those four young men, God gave knowledge and understanding of all kinds of literature and learning, and Daniel could understand visions and dreams of all kinds. And so basically just says Daniel had intellectual strength. Daniel was somebody, as well as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they just kind of saw beyond everything. Man, I'm tapping into those people personally right now as we go through all this COVID-19 stuff, because, man, I want to know somebody that's got some wisdom, because there's a lot of people who just don't feel like they know anything right now, right? And so I want to know, man, when can I start my church back up? Well, I'm leaning on people to help me with that. What does it look like, all right? In this new world of social distancing, I want to hear from some wisdom of people that way. And there's some people who, man, they just are really helpful when it comes to helping us be able to understand more about life and more about just who we are and what God's calling us to. And they're just, man, some people, they're just teachers. Some people, man, they just have good long-term memory. There's all sorts of different ways, basically, that you can have strengths in the area of your brains, all right, of these areas of intellectual strengths. And so there's a few things here. Here's just some things that we have to realize. Culture by culture, sometimes this looks a little bit different. Different intellectual characteristics are emphasized sometimes from one culture to another. Some people, they may just have the know-how, kind of street smarts, all right? For others, it may be that they are very good in the areas of discernment. And so different cultures, sometimes different strengths come to the forefront depending on just what's needed for that culture, what's emphasized in that culture. One of the differences that they kind of just show you here, there's two pictures. There's a picture of guys on a boat and that know how to fish versus guys that know how to hunt, all right? Those are two completely different things, skill sets. But with your brain, you can kind of have some different skill sets that help as well. You think about Silicon Valley, and you think about people that have certain intellectual skill sets to be able to help them with tech in the area of technology, versus some people just street smarts, right? That's kind of more their strength. Some people, it's high IQ as far as in just being able to do well on a standardized test, right? And be able to regurgitate information really, really well. Some people, they have great short-term memory. Some people, they have great long-term memory. So there's a lot of different ways that this gets fleshed out, but 4 different areas that you guys will just want to know when we take our chapter 8 test, and that you guys are learning with me this week. We have different learning styles. We have different cognitive capacity. We have different learning environments that we like. And we also have different intellectual disciplines. However, intellectual disciplines is one that we can always grow in, whereas the other 3 might be more unique and more individual to you. And so I want us just to start. They kind of give you a little. You can kind of take this. They talk first about learning styles, and they give you just a little illustration or a little practice. They have three different in your notes here. 3 different colors of Hershey Kisses. All right, and then as you go through several questions there, you figure out as you go through. I think it's about 16, 17, 18 questions, whether or not you are an auditory learner, a visual learner, or a tactile learner. Tactile learner. Tactile learners are more hands-on learners. Visual learners are more, they learn by seeing, right? And then auditory, you learn more by hearing. And so that's kind of the first little just list that you want to know from this chapter is, what am I? Am I more tactile, visual, or auditory in the way that I learn? There's also, and so those are your learning styles, and they'll go into a little bit more detail there. I'll keep us moving for the purpose of this video for now. There's also different types of learning environments. We're affected by our surroundings. We don't learn just in a bubble. And so, man, you've got physical aspects of just the learning atmosphere as far as just where you like to learn the best, where you like to be, probably at your house. Certain rooms are better than others. There's psychological components to that, sociological components. Some of you guys learn better with people in a room versus some of you guys learn better just by yourself. Emotionally, you learn better, man, depending on how you're feeling emotionally sometimes than how you're not. And then obviously different elements of the environment play into that as well. And they give you a long list of different things, different elements that are involved with learning environments. Again, I won't give you all those, but you guys will want to know that chart as well. And so just different things there that they talk about learning environments. And then Cognitive capacity. The ability for somebody to comprehend one's surroundings, acquire information, catch on to what is required, make sense of the information, retain the information, figure out what to do with the information. If you look at your book, you'll see what's called intellectual capacity, or we'll call that cognitive capacity here. They list, let's see, a bunch of different things, almost 10 different things. Some people have verbal capacity, some have quantitative capacity, some have image capacity, and you can see all the definitions for all those different capacities on page 144, and you will want to know those. You'll see those will show back up on the test as well. So short-term memory, long-term memory, reasoning capacity, processing capacity, all of these are different ways to be smart, as far as in kind of just ways that we would kind of a lot of times consider somebody to have a strength in that area or not. And so that's your different types of cognitive capacities. And then the last one is one that we can all grow in, and it's called intellectual disciplines. Our intellectual disciplines include patience, all right? The ability to learn something over time, even if it takes a while to get it, right? Courage, systematic thinking, advancement in knowledge, right? Persistence, having a teachable spirit, being somebody that's curious. Curiosity actually could be an intellectual strength and an intellectual discipline here. Integrity in learning, critical thinking. So it just goes through those 8 things. I think it's 8 or 9 things, and just kind of shows you guys that those also are disciplines that we should have as well. And so again, I'm going through these really quick because I don't want this to be a 30-minute video, but it also, as you go through the notes, just shows you, okay, if we have these disciplines, man, if we value these disciplines, a lot of times we're seen as somebody who is smarter. If we don't have these disciplines in our lives, if these disciplines are absent in our lives, then a lot of times, man, we miss the chance a lot of times to learn something meaningful, to be considered a learner, to be considered somebody who is growing in mental capacity, right? And so, but sometimes it just comes down to, do you want to learn or do you not? And obviously there's a lot more to it than that, but these disciplines basically kind of point that out, that sometimes, man, people grow because they want to, sometimes they don't grow because they don't want to. And I think that's an element that we have to consider when we talk about intellectual disciplines. And so lots of different things there that you guys can read through, that you guys can study through. Just wanted to give you a quick overview of those things. And again, I'll see you guys on Friday. So if you want to tune in on Friday, we can talk about this more. We can talk about the review. That's primarily what we're going to do on Friday, is talk through the review. And but if you guys have any questions, please continue to email me, continue to DC Connect me. If you guys need to make up some work and you need to get something open back up, let me know as well. You can now save your work. So that's a new button that they've added. I don't know why it wasn't there in the first place, but I'm glad they've added that button. So if you want to save your work, you can do that. And let me know if you guys have any questions. And let me pray for you guys this week, and then I'll let y'all go. Dear Jesus, we thank you so much just for allowing us just to continue to learn in this interesting environment that we find ourselves in. Jesus, we just pray that, Lord, you would just continue to help us, though, just to grow, to learn, and then also just to have good intellectual, which isn't even spiritual disciplines, but intellectual disciplines that just help us be able to just to continue to learn right now in a different environment. And it might not be our ideal environment, but God, we pray that you would just help us as we study chapter 8 this week, as we review chapters 5 through 7, and ultimately as we think about the ways that you've gifted us and the strengths that you've given us. Jesus, we love you, and we thank you so much just for the opportunity just to learn this week, and also the opportunity just to continue to be alive and experience this very unique time. God, would you just help us to make memories during this time, because it's probably going to be a time we're always going to be remembered and probably be remembered for as far as what we did during this time. And so, God, would you just continue to help us, God, to do what you want us to do. And God, I pray for every student that's listening to this, and pray, Father, that you just be with them this week. We ask all these things in your name. Amen. All right, you guys, I'll see y'all later, and I hope you guys are having a good week. And thanks for tuning in. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.